Hi, Reggae Elliss here in Perisher. Joining me today is Cameron Waddell, member of the Australian Park and Pipe team and also member of Rip Curl's national team as well. Cameron, welcome to Mountain Watch.
Thank you very much for having me. Stoked to be out here in Perisher with you guys.
Well, it's been a weird season, as we know, but you've been fortunate here in Perisher. They've put a lot of effort in the park and you've been doing a lot of training.
Yeah, super fortunate. Perisher managed to have Front Valley up for all the season, get a jump going. So yeah, we can still train and get some tricks done. So should be good going into the northern season.
Speaking of the northern season, bit of a weird one coming up. What are your plans? I know that you're doing World Cups, Olympics in a couple of years. It's a long road ahead.
Yeah, so basically we just have to wait and see what's going on with all the COVID restrictions and stuff. But at the moment it looks like we'll be getting a Northern Hemisphere season in and heaps of World Cups lined up in Europe and even China. So yeah, should be a good northern season.
Now with this, you've been, grew up skiing here at Perisher. You've been riding the parks for a long time. What's it like being a local kid growing up in Jindabyne and Perisher?
It's the best thing. I was super fortunate. Mum and Dad had 2 souvenir shops growing up, so on weekends I'd always go out skiing and wait for them to finish work, so it was really good. Super fortunate to live down in Jindabyne. Summer's heaps of fun too. Got a good crew of friends, so yeah, super lucky.
Like when you're growing up, who did you ski with? I know now you ski around with the team, other guys in the team, but what about your mates?
Yeah, so just all my friends basically, like Ethan Topper, Charles Beaton, Cade Robinson. There's so many to name, kind of all the local kids just grew up skiing together on weekends, so yeah.
I know your brother Thomas was one of the top skiers as well. He's part of that older Jindabyne crew, Bowen Ferguson, Charlie Timmins. There was a mob of them. How inspirational were those guys when you were a grommet?
They were huge. Like, I remember in the early days watching Bowen, Charlie, Russ, Jesse and Jordan Houghton ski. It was always kind of put me on the path towards park skiing, so super thankful for that. And yeah, my older brother, Adam, Ryan Cook, Will Bissica, heaps of the older kids as well, just kind of always wanted to grow up skiing with them. So I had to kind of get good enough to start skiing with them. So yeah, it was always big motivation for me having those guys on the mountain.
And was, park always your focus, or just sort of fall into it?
Yeah, I just kind of fell into it basically. Like growing up watching X Games was always a big deal. Kind of got into a bit of mogul skiing when I was younger, but then as soon as my brother kind of got really into park skiing, that's kind of exactly what I did, just followed in his footsteps, I guess. Well,
it's led you a long way, as you said. Now, during this time, you've had a few injuries. I remember a couple of years ago you broke your back on a powder day. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, basically had a really good week on snow when I was 17. Learnt, I think, 3 new doubles in a space of a week, so started to feel pretty indestructible on my skis. And yeah, just got a bit sandy on a powder day and yeah, managed to do some damage to my vertebrae, T1 to T7. But it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I was injured during my HSC year, so it was kind of good to just knuckle down, get some schoolwork done, and yeah.
Well, with that, I mean, how hard is it? You've been training pretty well full-time. That injury, as you said, may be a blessing in disguise as far as education goes. But how difficult is it when you're 14, 15, 16, all you want to do is ski and train? How hard is it to focus on your education as well?
Yeah, I struggled with it a lot, but I was super fortunate to go to JCS, and Steve Cooper was really, really good with me. We just had a deal that if I handed in my assignments on time and sat through all my exams, that, yeah, the rest would be all good. So, yeah, super fortunate and... yeah, just basically had to stay motivated with my back. Definitely wanted to be on the hill all the time, but it's all good. Just kind of have to get the school done and then you can go skiing.
Well, I suppose that's one of the advantages you have, as opposed to kids who come down from Canberra and Sydney, Jindabyne Central School and at Snow Mountains Grammar, they sort of embrace the snow sport, so a bit of an advantage.
Oh, huge advantage. I've had so much support from all my teachers, especially going through school. SMEGs at the moment are running a fantastic program. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the younger kids go with all these new supports and programs. So definitely big things for the future.
Well, the last couple of years, I mean, we're just talking about, you got the World Cup, you're looking at the Olympics in Beijing next year, 22. Yep. Yeah, not long. So what tricks have you been working on? What do you think you'll need to do?
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of tricks I have in my mind. Just basically getting my both-way double corks going really well with different grabs. Yeah, just the level of skiing at the moment starting to get pretty ridiculous. So yeah, just trying to keep up with all the other boys and do my best.
So, like, who of your compatriots push you? Who do you like skiing with now?
Yeah, so on the team we have Bailey Johnson and Charles Beaton, and those two boys are really good. It's kind of fun. We all live together a lot of the time for about 6 months of the year. So, yeah, they always push me on snow, and off the mountain we're best mates. So, yeah, it's pretty sick.
Well, growing up around here in Jindabyne, like we, all talking about the snow and winter's unreal. What about the rest of the year when you were a kid? What do you do?
So me, when I was younger, I wasn't really good at any other sports. So I spent a lot of the time on the trampoline. We've got a trampoline centre in town where I grew up, pretty much spending most afternoons there after school, and that's really good for me. I got to go transfer my tricks from trampolining to skis, so that was huge. Skating in the summertime, also a bit of bike riding. So yeah, it's Jindy's an awesome place to be in summer as well.
The trampolining out at Sport and Rec, run by Ursula Berchtold, of course. Her son Andrea was one of the top freestylers when it first came through. Daughter Manuela went to the Olympics mogul skiing. That's a pretty impressive program out there. Now you're one of the coaches.
Yeah, so I've been working there since I was 14, and Ursula's done such a good job, and I just think so much for the general community of free skiing. Andrea's son was a big inspiration of mine growing up. Seeing that front 450 he did off the Cosy Cornice was huge for me. I was like, oh, that was one of the sickest things I've seen. So, yeah, she's done so much, and it's just such a good facility for the local kids to use and transfer their tricks from the tramp to snow.
And that's important, right? The having the air time, getting that air sense on trampoline, pretty crucial.
Oh, I'd say it's probably the number one thing. Like, if you know what you're doing in the air, then obviously it's going to be a little bit safer when you try it on snow than what you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, fair enough. And now they're talking about, they're going to build a airbag out there training centre as well. So that's looking pretty, that should open this summer.
Yeah, so Snow Australia put a bunch of money into a new airbag construction at the back of Sport and Rec. So that whole facility with the trampolines and now with the airbag should be unreal. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of development in the park and pipe, and heaps of kids coming through that are just going to be really, really good.
That's going to be this summer. You may not get to ride it. Now, going overseas, what's the story? I mean, as a sports person, you get dispensation, because I know government's not letting anyone out. So how are you doing it? Yeah,
I leave it up to my government body, NSWIS, and I think they're going through and sorting it all. I don't know too many of the details, but yeah, I think along the lines of athletes are getting overseas. So yeah, super lucky, and massive thank you to NSWIS for doing everything they do for me.
And do you know what your program's going to be? Like, it won't be flying in and out this time. It's going to be a long haul, right?
Yeah. So basically, I think at the moment, when we come home, we're going to have to do the mandatory 2 weeks quarantine. So yeah, basically, I think if we go overseas, we're over for the long haul, and hopefully coming back at around March. So should be good. Should be a long winter. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think people will be envious if they can't get overseas skiing. Now, with that, of course, you've had plenty of support over the years. I remember when you signed up with Rip Curl, you were only a grommet. It must have been exciting getting tied up with a big brand like that.
Oh, it was huge. I still remember the first kit Rip Curl ever gave me. I was 14 at the time, and yeah, just super thankful for all the support they've given me over the years. Yeah, the quality of the gear is getting better and better every year, so it's really cool to be riding for a brand like this. I'm stoked.
And like with your skis, you've got you're on the Nick Hill team, as we like to say. Vocal Dalbello Mark. It must be like having a big solid brand like Vocal supporting too. That's got to be important, and obviously your parents would have really appreciated that when you were young.
Yeah. So Hilly picked me up when I was 13. He was my first sponsor. And then he put me in contact with you guys. So yeah, it's been really big. Hilly's done so much for the industry, supporting me, and obviously heaps of other kids around. It's pretty cool this year. There's no contest running, so we had a little Vocal Shreddits contest that's actually being announced today. So kids were sending in their videos, and yeah, me, Nick Payne, another skier on Vocal, and we'll be judging them. And yeah, it's pretty cool that Vocal is still putting on a contest even with all this COVID stuff. Yeah,
that is cool. Now, okay, you got your equipment covered. It's really expensive sport. You're talking about all the travel you've got to go. I know, your parents have backed you, really strongly your whole career, and you've been working pretty hard. Just how difficult is it for an Australian skier to pay to get to the top level, to get World Cup level?
Yeah, definitely not going to lie. It's not easy, but it's all worth it. Like, skiing for me has always been something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. So it's not too bad. I work evenings at the Tramp Centre, as I said before, and then I also work in a bar at Ridges, and they're really cool with me, really flexible with contests and training and stuff like that. So super fortunate to live in a small community like Jindabyne, where I just have the support I need to make some money and then head overseas for the long haul.
Well, it is a long haul. The whole career is a long haul. You're pretty young now. What, still 21? Is that how old you are?
20. Yeah, so
20.
I'm 20.
Okay, well, 20. You got a long career, so what's your plan? Okay, you got this winter overseas, but what's the long-term goals?
My long-term goals are essentially just to start doing well in competitions, making a name for myself, and once that's done, still competing. Also want to get some filming done, which would be amazing. Russell was always really good at that, bringing out some film projects and stuff like that. And yeah, I just think Australia as a snow industry has so much to offer, and I feel like a lot of the world doesn't really know about it. So it'd be cool to definitely make some videos and stuff like that in the future, just showing how much we got down here, which is awesome.
All right, cool. Okay, well, it's starting to soften up a little bit here at Perish after overnight freeze, so could be a good day in the park. I'll let you get to it. Thanks for joining us here on Mountain Watch.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good one. Cheers.
All right, there you go. Cameron Waddell, Australia's #1 park and pipe skier, set for a big future.